Hello everybody and welcome to You're Off the Case, the Ottawa Hockey Podcast. Welcome back for episode 1.2. I'm Clayton Johns alongside Jamie Shinkuski as we try to cover the past week of hockey here in the nation's capital. And as always, we start with the Ottawa Senators.
Yes, thanks Clayton. The Ottawa Senators had 4 games this past week, starting last Thursday, January 12th, where Craig Anderson picked up his first shutout of the season in a 3-0 blanking of the Eastern Conference leading New York Rangers. Jason Spezza led the charge for the Senators with 2 goals, and Erik Karlsson had 2 assists. Saturday, they followed that up with a 3-2 shootout victory over the Montreal Canadiens, where Kyle Turris picked up a goal and Karlsson added another assist to continue his All-Star season. Monday night, they had a setback at home against the Winnipeg Jets, where they were blanked 2-0 and outshot 35-25. In the third period, they had chances to come back in the game, but Chris Neal and Bobby Butler both rang shots off the crossbar. And Tuesday night, they came out victorious in the Battle of Ontario, 3-2, Daniel Alfredsson and Kyle Turris each picking up a goal and an assist in that one, and Nicholas Foligno having a fight with Dion Phaneuf. Clayton, Foligno has sure picked up his physical play, showing what he's capable of this season.
Foligno not backing away from that fight with Dion Phaneuf, not backing down after he made that low hit that Coach Paul McLean said he thought was a penalty. But Foligno's definitely showing that he can play multiple roles on a team, can score on any given night, but is also not going to back down from any physical play.
Very true indeed, and I would give that decision to Foligno in that fight. And Turris, with a goal and an assist in that game, he seemingly has been a turnaround to the Sens season. They have gone 11-2-2 since acquiring him in the trade with the Phoenix Coyotes. Since being acquired, Turris has 3 goals and 8 assists in 15 games, and his counterpart, David Rundblad, has been sent down to the American Hockey League by the Coyotes. Now the Sens are still sitting in 5th place. This week they have 58 points in that tight Eastern Conference. Senators captain Daniel Alfredsson has been named All-Star Game captain alongside Zdeno Chara of the Boston Bruins. Now, Clayton, what do you think of the National Hockey League's decision to pick Chara and not the likes of Dion Phaneuf?
I think the National Hockey League missed a glorious marketing opportunity by picking Zdeno Chara in lieu of Dion Phaneuf. They had a great chance to market this as a rivalry, the Battle of Ontario between Daniel Alfredsson and Zdeno Chara, at least in terms of the captains. Definitely marketing mishap there for the National Hockey League, a league that definitely needs to attract viewers to one of its premier events on the schedule, at least in terms of league-wide.
Yes, very true indeed. And on the note of the All-Star Game, a team that will not have their top young stars being on display is the Edmonton Oilers. They have had some very unfortunate injuries. Clayton, would you care to elaborate on that?
Yes, as we shift our focus to the National Hockey League picture as a whole, we like to focus on the Edmonton Oilers injuries that have happened over the past couple of weeks. And the first occurring to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, who fell awkwardly into the boards in a game on January the 2nd against the Chicago Blackhawks. Looked almost as though Nugent-Hopkins tripped over the blue line, falling into the boards, separates his shoulder, diagnosed to be out 3 to 4 weeks. No timetable as to exactly when he'll be back in the lineup. 5 days later, Jordan Eberle gets tangled up with a defenseman on January the 7th against the Dallas Stars. Another awkward play where Eberle gets tangled up. Fortunately for the Oilers, Eberle resumed skating and is in the lineup Thursday night for Edmonton. Just the other night, though, Taylor Hall falls awkwardly in warm-up and has his teammate Corey Potter step on his face, cuts a gash in Taylor Hall's forehead, requires 30 stitches. Hall missed, obviously, that game versus the Columbus Blue Jackets, no knowing exactly when Hall will be back in the lineup for the Edmonton Oilers. Jamie, Hall's injury, however, brings up the question, do NHL players need to have helmets on during the pregame warm-up, as that is the main reason for Hall's injury. Had he been wearing a helmet, could easily have been avoided.
Yes, it could have been avoided, Clayton, but freak accidents occur no matter what happens. If he would have been wearing a helmet, he still could have been stepped on his chin or something, and that could bring up the debate of wearing full-face cages. I think that it may lead to players choosing to wear helmets in warm-up to take that precaution, but I don't think it will be mandatory for them to do so. Now, you can't help but laugh a little bit at Edmonton's injuries. It's unfortunate that those players got injured. It is not at all funny that they are injured, but the manner in which they can just not catch a break is slightly comical.
It is a little bit funny, although the Oilers, you could say, did catch a break, that Hall's injury was not more serious and that it was not perhaps his neck or an artery that was cut that could possibly have even ended his career, such a young and promising career. Anyhow, we move along and we shift our focus to the story in the border town of Buffalo, New York. And Buffalo Sabres have struggled this year after spending so much money in the offseason, acquiring defenseman Robin Regeer, Christian Ehrhoff, and forward Ville Leno, hoping to change their luck around. But at this point in the season, the Sabres have almost identical numbers to last season as they sit once again outside of a playoff spot. All of this has kind of culminated following a 5-0 loss to the Detroit Red Wings on Monday night, where the Buffalo Sabres have now lost 10 straight road games in 12 of their last 15 games. Their star goaltender Ryan Miller has not played up to par. Performance has been questioned, and the Sabres have had to rely on backup goaltender Jonas Enroth for a good majority of the season. Miller, however, spoke out following that game in Detroit against a need for a trade and says the answer to the team's problems lies within the locker room. But after having spent all this money in the offseason, do they have the solution to their problems in the locker room?
Well, I think the Sabres acquired the manpower in the offseason, adding the likes of Ehrhoff and Regeer to their lineup, adding Ville Leno. They added that talent that they need. However, the struggles are coming from within. Miller, the face of the franchise, is not playing up to par. Thomas Vanek is having a wonderful season in the points column, but the results are just not there for the Sabres, and it looks like this turnaround might take longer than expected. On a side note, Miller's brother Drew, who plays for the Red Wings, scored his first point against his brother in the game, the 5-0 victory, recording an assist in that one.
Ryan Miller certainly didn't find anything too funny about his brother getting his first points against him, as tensions certainly are high in upstate New York. We shift our focus now to the Ottawa 67s in the Ontario Hockey League in the week that was. And the 67s were at home on Friday, January the 13th against the Peterborough Petes, dropping their first decision in a while, losing 5-3 to the Petes. This was the debut of the new 67 squad following their trades and acquisition of John McFarland and Mike Cazzola. The top line for the 67s was Cazzola, who centered a line with McFarland and Shane Prince on the right side, but the rest of the team seemed to have no jump in their play whatsoever. I guess maybe we can give the team a break as it was Friday the 13th, but Jamie, as you said last week, the 67s had to bring their top game in order to be competitive with this Pete's squad, and the Petes certainly brought their top game. The 67s didn't, and Matt D'Agostini, the Peterborough goaltender, stood on his head, played absolutely fantastic, and that was also a point you brought up last week for the Petes to win. How did you evaluate the performance of both teams?
Well, for sure, the 67s did not bring their best effort to the game. D'Agostini played very well, and his defense and the forwards did a great job of clearing the rebounds in front of him. There was a lot of rebounds that popped out that the 67s could just not bury. The top line of Cazzola, McFarland, and Prince played really well, but other than that, the 67s did not bring their best effort to the table. Tyler Toffoli did not show why he earned himself the CHL Player of the Week honors the week before, and the Petes just simply outworked the 67s in this one.
67s, however, had a chance to bounce back on Sunday afternoon as they were once again at home against the Belleville Bulls. Third game in 10 days for those two teams. They bounced back with a 6-1 victory over the Bulls' new acquisition. Mike Cazzola has a goal and 2 assists, gives him 5 points. Since coming to the 67s from the Erie Otters, Shane Prince also with a goal and 2 assists. He has 8 points in his last 3 games. And defenseman Jake Cardwell has a big game, 2 goals and an assist for him. Belleville goalie Charlie Graham hung in for all 6 goals, much the same way that John Chartrand was back on January the 6th when the 67s beat the Bulls 7-2. Jamie, over the last few games, the 67s have just completely overpowered the Bulls, outscoring them 16-5. Is this just two teams that just don't match up well?
Well, on one hand, the 67s have loaded up on offense with their trade acquisitions. They have more offensive power now. They are showing that when playing the Bulls. But the Bulls have been without their top goaltender, Malcolm Subban. Will that make a huge difference in the long run? Well, you never know, but it certainly makes some of a difference because a couple huge saves by the goaltender could shift the momentum in one single game anyhow. That being said, I do think the 67s are the better team in this case.
And this coming weekend, Thursday night, the 67s have a chance for redemption against the Peterborough Petes. They are in Peterborough at the Memorial Centre. The Petes still sit 11 points back of the 67, while Ottawa holds a game in hand. Friday night, the 67s return home to face another East Division rival in the Oshawa Generals, who sit 15 points behind the 67s and 3 points out of a playoff spot, which doesn't say a whole lot, as 7 points separate 4th from 9th in the Eastern Conference. The Generals currently occupy that 9th spot. Ottawa 67s fans can be excited to see Boone Jenner, the Team Canada forward that earned a bronze medal at the 2012 World Junior Hockey Championship. The 67s once again at home at the J. Benson Cartage Center on Sunday, January the 22nd, against the Western Conference Kitchener Rangers. Kitchener having a great season, currently tied with the 67s in points at 57 apiece. They sit 7 points behind the London Knights for the Midwest Division lead, as well as the Western Conference lead, so they'll be eager to get 2 points. And the Kitchener Rangers have had strong goaltending from John Gibson, who performed well for Team USA at the 2012 World Junior, and as well from Frankie Palazzi. We now move along to one of our regular segments, the Name of the Week. Jamie has the Name of the Week this week.
This week we're looking out to Western Canada, to the Western Hockey League, where he played 3 games with the Moose Jaw Warriors of the WHL this year, collecting 1 assist. He's currently playing in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League, the Junior A circuit there for the Nipawin Hawks, where in 4 games he has collected 4 goals and 4 assists. Hailing from Brandon, Manitoba, former Brandon Wheat King player, Wheaton King.
Wheaton King played for the Brandon Wheat Kings. Fans, do not forget that stat. That is a fabulous stat. Wheaton King played for the Brandon Wheat Kings. We move along to another regular segment, our 4th line fact of the week. And this one is a little bit different from our first one.
This week we're looking at a team in the East Coast Hockey League, the Wheeling Nailers. Owners Rob and Jim Brooks have announced that they have put up the team up for sale. The Wheeling Nailers, yes, you heard that right. They have produced NHL 4th line talents such as Paul Bissonnette, Zenon Konopka, and Daniel Carcillo.
3 great 4th liners in the NHL today. Paul Bissonnette, everybody knows Paul Bissonnette for his fantastic Twitter account. Zenon Konopka, our favorite Ottawa boy, played for the 67th, currently playing for the Senators. Our final segment of the week is the You're Off the Case moment of the week. An easy decision for us this week, and this one definitely goes to Mike Camilleri, now of the Calgary Flames, after he was traded from the Montreal Canadiens out west to Alberta for Rene Bourque and Kari Rama, who is currently playing for Avangard Omsk of the KHL. Jamie, was this a case where Camilleri was simply made the scapegoat for tensions being high in Montreal over a losing season, or is this maybe a case of the Frenchmen in Montreal not liking an Englishman bashing their team?
Well, there was obviously something going on behind the scenes. Camilleri being shipped out like that, his outburst to the media, perhaps that's why he got pulled halfway through the game, which I have never seen before. And Mike Camilleri, just like Sergei Bobrovsky, you're off the case. Anyway, folks, that's all the time we have for this week. We'll be coming back to you approximately same time from the same place in 1 week's time.
For Jamie Shinkuski, I'm Clayton Johns. This has been episode 1.2 of You're Off the Case, the Ottawa Hockey Podcast for this week ending in January the 19th, 2012.
1, 2, 3, boom,